Hey dudes, it's me, Mighty the Armadillo here, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. I apologize for that particular, well, let's just say about a few days delay, because obviously after the events of the Game & Watch Legend of Zelda unboxing video that we've already done since in 27th of December, but after the lack of any uploading schedules from the likes of the 28th of December, but here we are now on to the 29th of December. So anyway, enough about that jibby jabber. So welcome back for some more Let's Play of Donkey Kong Land for the Game Boy. So last time we managed to accomplish the very first world in the game, which appears to be known as Gangplank Galleon Ahoy. Apparently that's what the first world of the game is actually called. And today for this video is the fact that we are moving on to the next world, which appears to be by the forms of, I won't classify for mentioning this, it's known as Kremlantis, because obviously this particular world is like a combination of a temple and underwater kind of levels. So here we go onto this first level in this world, which appears to be Tricky Temple. And I believe, oh dang it, I got myself a really rough start right there, so whoops. So I believe out of all the actual worlds that we're going to be experiencing when it comes to this game itself, this world, Kremlantis, is the only world that doesn't have that much bonus areas. I mean, the only time you can only experience bonus areas is, surprisingly enough, in all of the temple levels, except for these underwater levels, which is, I'm not gonna lie, I was quite surprised about this, especially noticeable that unlike in, well, certain underwater levels in the Donkey Kong Country games, that it does manage to sometimes contain the actual bonus areas, whereas in this game in particular, that when it comes to underwater levels in general, they don't have any bonus areas to be found. So it's just literally that on the temple levels like these, that it does manage to include bonus areas, of course. So yeah, like I mentioned this before, today's day is of course the 29th of December today, in this case in 2021 today, and potentially speaking, only 3 more days to go until 2022. But again, I do apologize with the lack of uploading schedules for the sake of yesterday, mainly because we're really desperate to try now some of these Christmas presents that we've already received from the likes of this year. Like, we've already played, you know, Game & Watch The Legend of Zelda Edition, which we're still happy for it. Especially, I felt so incredibly bad for the likes of the forms of the actual anniversary of The Legend of Zelda franchise, because, well, they only contain, like, quite a few items, but that's pretty much about it. So, unfortunately, though, that we have no luck of Zelda The Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD versions of those two games never came onto the Switch, which is kind of sucks honestly, because, well, despite the fact that on the Wii U, despite it's been flopped on the Wii U, so at the very least they could able to experience other Zelda titles on the go for the Nintendo Switch, if they can, but unfortunately though, that doesn't seem to happen sadly, so anyway, so let's go ahead and continue things on here. So, unfortunately though, I did manage to die quite a few times in this level though, mainly because of how the fact that, well, it's just that, like I said before, ever since during the course of in the first part, is that, well, it's pretty obvious that my, the jump's depth is actually not working with me properly. So, yeah, I totally, mesmerized about this, or I have no idea, but anyway. And also managed to play the Burnout Paradise Remastered on the Switch, so that way I can finally able to experience the game proper by, well, playing the game on the go at long last, rather than just being stuck onto the forms of the PlayStation 4 version. Oh, and by the way, this is the bonus area, by the way. It's just literally at the very end of the level, as you can tell from that particular location, so just want to give you a heads up if you really want to see that little top portion of the barrel itself. So, and I believe, oh god, thank goodness I did not die right there, and there's a G, so that way we can get ourselves a Kong letters, and eventually we'll leave the level like so. So yeah, this level's not too bad, all things considered. Well, it wasn't until whenever we get into the third world until tomorrow though. Oh boy, believe me on that part. Anyways, next of all, the next level we're going to be hitting into is Kremlantis Chaos. I think that's what the actual the level is called anyway. And as you can see, that we're actually going to be doing underwater swimming, just like in the forms of how it does it in Donkey Kong Country, and Donkey Kong Country 2, and Donkey Kong Country 3. Except the notable difference this time, this is on the Game Boy rather than on the Super Nintendo, so yeah, it makes it totally obvious. And like I said before, those underwater levels in this game does not have any bonus areas at all, so thankfully you don't need to worry about just trying to able to actually explore around onto certain areas throughout the majority of the underwater levels, thankfully. So you can just, well, go as many, go whatever you want to go, and hopefully you're gonna have to make your way to the very end of that particular, you know, the level itself. The only time it makes things a bit difficult with this level is these little enemies right there, which I absolutely have no idea why I'm having a hard time with these enemies. And also, I believe those species right there, as you see there just swim by, I believe if I dare touch them, then I will get killed. So, yeah, you don't want to let that happen. Ah, dang it, I forgot how slippery those things are. Ah, well, we'll try again. We'll just keep trying, I suppose, but, anywho, another thing I just want to mention about something is the fact that I'm pretty sure that, well, I'm sure enough that, I believe, I have no idea. It has been a long while since I actually mentioned something news-related stuff, as to be expected, because like I said this before several times, I apologize for the lack of the delay, or apologize for that delay for the continuation of this uploading schedule, because obviously we just need to save the conclusion to this Let's Play at some point until the New Year's Eve, because, well, we only got 2 days left until we're able to make your way, or we're gonna be making it to the New Year's Eve, so anyway, some people or some toys haven't mentioned about this either, from the likes of not only for Nights into Dreams Let's Play, but also Mario vs. Donkey Kong Let's Play for Merxy's case, and especially noticeable in Mario Kart Arcade GP2 Let's Play, that apparently there was a major issue if for those who ever played Paper Mario for the likes of the Nintendo Switch online membership services. Apparently there was actually a game-breaking bug where if you try to use the hammer on certain trays, I think there's one instance on Chapter 7, and basically if you keep on using a hammer on that specific tray, basically the game will crash, and to make matters worse, it will lose your progress. So it's a bit like the forms of how it does it back on last year, where basically if you come across into a soft locking portion of the game that without any progressioning, then basically that you have to able to start all over again if you stumble across the actual soft locking situations, which is a bit inconsistent, but thankfully it's been fixed. So at least we're really hoping that that particular game bug glitch were able to get fixed for the sake of, you know, Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64, you know, Nintendo Switch Online membership service. So, mind you, I still already got the game on not only for the original cartridge version, and also the Wii Virtual Console version, so I don't necessarily need to worry about that, honestly. Although, for those of you ever first time experiencing the game, that I felt incredibly bad for you if you managed able to lose your save data, so with this, you know, game-breaking glitch. So, alright, next level, we have Reef Rampage, and once again we're going underwater, except this time the environment takes place in coral, so because in the previous level that it does manage to take place in underwater ruins, and yeah, that's basically how this goes basically. So yeah, that's as far as I can say about this level, honestly. It's just all about, you know, all about swimming, basically. Although, whenever we get into the forms of the next world, like I said before, basically that we will stumble across into some interesting levels, but also, I'm really not looking forward to the next few levels coming up, which I'm sure that most people already know what I'm going to try to talk about. And that is the fact that, well, there's going to be that one level that it just forces upon you for the sake of likely for progression, and let me tell you, I'm not looking forward to that, which I'll point it out until tomorrow anyway, so because I don't think there's any point we can able to actually just to like mention some more other stuff from now on, because well, since that 2021 has almost come to a close before we move on to 2022, like we already said this loads of times already, so yeah, you probably expected how this goes basically. So of course we need to watch out for these little like spinning Sharpie saw blade kind of objects. I don't know what these are called now, because again, it's been like 3 days ago since I actually last played this game, so yeah, forgive me if I botched anything else to be more specific. Although, tell you what, whenever we get into Donkey Kong Land 2 at some point in next year, or Donkey Kong Land 3, also in next year as well, if depending on the forms of uploading schedules in mind, that hopefully we're not going to delay things that much though, at least I hope so anyway, so anyway. And also, that another thing I just want to classify is the fact that I recently watched the next Disney film called Encanto, and I gotta say, I'm very impressed about that film, especially noticeable about the fact that this marks the 60th film for the sake of the Disney film franchises as for this point right now, at least if you want to count the forms of well, certain films like Winnie the Pooh, despite the fact that in the 2011 film, for some reason they do not include the actual, you know, with the forms of the UK releases of certain Disney films, they do manage to able to get a code number for the sake of what specific number of Disney classic was. Like, for example, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was Disney Classic number 1, and Pinocchio was number 2, and Fantasia was actually number 3, Dumbo was number 4, and then Bambi was number 5, and all the other DVDs, which I don't even know about because personally, I don't usually, although it does count as in the Disney Classics numbers range, but personally speaking, it just never seemed to get interested with me. Although, until when Cinderella rolls around, that it's more accurately Disney Classic number 12, and I believe Alice in Wonderland was 13, and Peter Pan was, I think it was 14, and Lady and the Tramp, I'm pretty sure it's more accurately 15, and 16 was Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians is 17, but I'm gonna get ahead of myself. So, before I mention more about this though, I was trying to do this level, but let's just focusing on the forms of the next temple level first. And that's what it appears to be. The level is called Snake Charmer's Challenge. So, yeah, that seems kind of an interesting name. And once again, much like in Tricky Temple, that this particular level also has one bonus area. So, yeah, because obviously this takes place in the temple, of course. So, it's gonna get pretty tricky though, especially noticeable about the fact that not only because of the controls, but also, oh, there's the actual gimmick right here. Well, it will return until whenever we get into the next temple level. That's what appears to be the wind. You can actually use the wind you can able to actually bounce on top of the actual, or you can able to actually jump on the tornado and act out as like a actual bouncy kind of object. And basically, you can able to actually use that for the sake of likely for some progressioning. And I get the feeling that one of the bonus areas is required to use the TNT barrel, because one of those snake charmer pot stuff just managed able to block the actual bouncy tire. So yeah, we're gonna have to able to actually use the TNT barrel in order able to actually just to make it happen. So yeah, anyway, I've already mentioned that 101 Dalmatians is Disney Classic number 17, and I believe number 18 is The Sword in the Stone, and The Jungle Book was 19, The Aristocats was 20, and Robin Hood was 21, I believe so anyway. And also, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh was in, I think it's in 22, and 23, I think it was The Rescuers, and 24 is The Fox and the Hound, and 25, which was the very miserable, The Black Cauldron, because the reason why I pointed out is because that film flopped. So, at least if I was assuming so anyway. And I believe number 26 was Basil the Great Mouse Detective, or, for those of you who lived in America, it just calls it the Great Mouse Detective, and that's pretty much about it. And 27 was Oliver and Company, and number 28 was The Little Mermaid, if I was assuming that correctly, and number 29 was The Rescuers Down Under, and number 30 is Beauty and the Beast, which, speaking of 30, that, you know, that particular film is now, you know, 30 years old, in this case 3 decades ago, which, gee, time flies. But I still found that film very, very perfect in almost every single way. Even way better than the forms of how it does it on the live-action counterparts, at least to me though anyway. But anyway, and number 31 was, oh shoot! My jumps does not come up! Okay, whatever. At least we got the checkpoints, that's the only good thing about it. Yeah, anyway, yeah, number 31, Disney Classic game, the Disney Classic film, which was Aladdin. And number 32 is The Lion King, the best film ever. Way better than the live-action version, because that live-action version sucks. And number 33 is Pocahontas, probably my least favorite in terms of Disney Renaissance era when it comes to films. And number 34 was The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And number 35 was Hercules. And number 36, which was Mulan. Number 37 is Tarzan. And I believe 38 is, to be more specifically, if I'm not mistaken, Fantasia 2000. At least if I was assuming this correctly. And number 39, it was... Are you for real, game? You're not gonna let me trying to able to jump over that particular ledge while I was trying to grab the TNT barrel. Oh, thanks a lot. Anyway, yeah, number 39 was The Emperor's New Groove, and I believe number 40, if I was assuming correctly, it was Atlantis, the Lost Empire, and also, in 41 was Lilo and Stitch, and 42 was Treasure Planet, if I was assuming this is what this is going, and number, I won't classify for saying number 43 was Brother Bear, and number 44, which was the very miserable Home on the Range. Seriously, why did that film just go completely suck? But anyway, and also 45 was Chicken Little, even worse. And number 46, I think it's like The Wild or something like that. And despite the fact that it's more likely like a ripoff of Madagascar. So yeah, that's what I classify that. So anyways, before we move on to the next level, usually from down there, let's get into the next level, as you can see on screen. I think this level is called Chomp's Colosseum. I think that's what the level is called anyway. So, yeah, basically we're going back to another underwater level, as you can see. And of course, there's no bonus areas to be found, so good news, we don't need to worry about just trying to able to keep on, you know, looking around, searching for stuff, while trying to avoid a lot of fishes and stuff like that. So, yeah, and, I believe number 47 when it comes to Disney Classic films for the number coding. 47 was Meet the Robinsons, and I believe number 48, which was Bolt, and number 49 is The Princess and the Frog, and number 50 is obviously Tangled, and then after that, well, I would count Winnie the Pooh 2011 version for the sake of Disney Classic film number 51, despite the fact that the UK version of the actual DVD release doesn't seem able to include the actual number for some odd reason. But usually for the sake of time, for Wreck-It Ralph, it will be 52, and Frozen was 53, and I believe Big Hero 6 was 54, and Zootopia, or Zootropolis in the UK, basically it's like 55, and Moana was 56, if I recall, and Ralph Breaks the Internet was I think it's like 57? I'm sure I'm sure it's 57. Is it? Yeah, it's 57. And Frozen 2 is 58. And Raya and the Last Dragon is 59. And lastly, Kanto was 60. So yeah, 60 films in. So yeah, congratulations Disney animated classic feature films, because you certainly managed to reach a pretty good record for the sake of the films of how much numbered classic films they've got. So yeah, I'll give props to you for this point. And of course I did manage to watch Encanto on Disney Plus, so thankfully I don't have to go out somewhere, so at least that's a good thing. And plus it's for free, because I've already watched it on Christmas Eve, so as you probably already know by this at this point. So anyways, let's move on to the next level. As you can see on screen, here we have Nantullus Chase, and once again we're going back into the coral level theme, as you can see on screen. And the main emphasis on this level is the fact that we actually getting chased by that very peculiar creature at all times. And basically, if you're too slow and if you manage to get hit by this thing, then you're probably gonna lose one of your Kongs. So either Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong. The only thing that's kind of difficult for this level for me though is those clams. So because obviously sometimes I always seem to able to get hit by those things quite a few times, or maybe because I'm used to with Donkey Kong Country for you know, the coral reef kind of levels, because obviously sometimes they're able to send out those pearl projectiles at you for the sake of trying to dodge them. But for some reason in this game, basically it'll act out as just like open up the clamshell and then just hopefully, God forbid, try to avoid it, and that's pretty much how this goes. So once again, no bonus area to be found on this particular level, because obviously this is all underwater throughout the whole majority of the level. So yeah, no need to worry about just trying to able to, you know, keep on exploring and then just try to, you know, find a bonus area and all that stuff. Until the next level anyway, that we will still need to find a bonus area, but that will be another temple level that we have to go through, so... But yeah, that's aside from the forms of that, I think that's as far as I can usually try to describe about the forms of today's video, I'm afraid, guys. It's just the fact that, well, usually, relatively speaking, I'm basically running out of ideas for the sake of the actual discussions, for the sake of 2021 in general, although I'm sure that Maxi will point it out until whenever we finish this game first, before we're able to actually dive right into the final thoughts of 2021. I still find the year to be okay, but it's not the best year ever though, I'm gonna say this much, because there are some good parts there, but also some very miserable stuff here and there as well, which it might be exactly the same thing. It's like, pretty much it's like 2020 Part 2, except some improvements, like some little improvements, like, again, we'll point it out whenever we get into the forms of, well, some more continuation uploading schedules for this, so... Anyway, so let's just go ahead and take the invincibility frames and switch over to Donkey Kong here, so just in case we can able to just be safe, not to get hit by so many of those sharks, as long as that, well, again, because like I said before, ever since the beginning portion of this Let's Play, you have to do with the forms of screen crunch, which it'll give you, like, you know what I mean, a lot of trial and error if you manage to get screwed over by screen crunch, which that was also the reason why that we almost attempt to give up on playing, well, Mega Man and Bass for the Game Boy Advance, at least on the Wii U version, because, well, thankfully we still have save states on the Wii U Virtual Console re-release of Mega Man and Bass, but it knows what it is. Alright, onwards to the next level for the likes of Kremlantis World, and that's what it appears to be, Swirlwind Storm. And basically the main gimmick of this level, or the main mechanic of this level as far as you can see, we now need to rely on the forms of Swirlwind Tornadoes, as you can see. Now we've already seen that obstacle already from the likes of Snake Charmer's Challenge level, but it only happens once, and basically that you can able to actually use the tornado to able to bounce yourself higher enough and to able to reach higher places. And in some cases though, that you might able to actually come across into, well, much like in any other temple levels in this world, there's only one bonus area to be found. So, and until whenever we move on to the next world, we can probably now need to find multitude of bonus areas. Although, whenever we get into Donkey Kong Land 2 and Donkey Kong Land 3, then basically that we will come across into a lot, I mean a lot of bonus areas to be found. So, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon until next year in 2022, like I said, or in some years for the sake of time. And I somehow got died right there due to that very random armadillo enemy just spawns right in front of me. But oh well, no big deal. But at least we can able to like try this again, and hopefully without any frustration aside from screen crunch. So. And especially noticeable until the later levels that it will give me a lot of frustration, especially on the third world coming up though. Oh my god. You probably only know what the level is going to be like whenever we get into the I would say the hardest level in the game actually, but let's not get ahead of ourselves at this point right now because, well, we're still on the second world, and I think we've almost done with the second world already, though. It's just the fact that we need to go for this level first, plus a boss fight coming up. Oh, and be careful of those tornadoes, as you can see right there, because if you touch them from either these two sides, you lose one of your Kongs, like either Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong, so keep that in mind. So it's always best to able to actually just to jump on them like that, so just in case you don't get any harm. And you see that banana right over there? Well, if we bounce onto that tornado and guide it to the left, that is where the bonus area was. So, pretty easy when you get the hang of it. So, and I believe that's pretty much every single bonus area is to be found in Kremlantis World. So, despite the fact that I've already died. But thankfully, much like in Donkey Kong Country, I think I've already said this before already, although I'm going to say this again. Thankfully though, that if you get the bonus area, your progression will be saved. So, yeah, because unlike in, well, Donkey Kong Country Returns and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, that your progression doesn't save if you mess up with that particular bonus area, because you have to complete them in order to able to get some percentage progression. So, yeah, that's something worth classifying for noticing this. And there we go, we basically completed this particular stage, of course. And now we are moving on to the next boss fight, the second boss fight in Donkey Kong Land. This one appears to be Seabed Showdown, and we are faced off against with the actual clamshell boss. So, I've no idea what I was doing right there, mainly because I wasn't paying attention. But that's okay though, because we can just simply fight him again. So, yeah, the entire portion of the fight is the fact that every time when he spits out the actual, the pearl projectile right at us, basically though, we need to able to let him aim on that another clamshell just right over there on the bottom left corner. And that particular clamshell right there, as you saw, just managed able to reflect back at the forms of that particular boss fight. And you got to do this quite a few times until you're able to get the good angle right. And basically though, the more you do it, then, well, soon enough that you would be able to actually beat him down, no problem. So, but the only thing you need to be very careful of is, of course, the actual pearl itself, that he did manage able to send the actual projectile at you. So, yeah, it's a relatively easy boss fight, and it does manage to able to do something a little bit differently because it takes place in underwater, rather than just take control of the forms of one of those animal buddies because, well, Ungod the Swordfish, if I was assuming correctly, does not appear in this game, unlike Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3, if I recall correctly. So I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Land 1. It's the fact that we are moving on to the third world, known as Monkey Mountains and Japansea Clouds. Ooh, interesting. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, like I said. Later, fellas.